Hi, today's good person to know is Helen Lovelace. She's enterprise editor for the Mail on Sunday. Helen's been a journalist for the last 16 years across a broad range of publications, and for the last 6 years she's been writing about issues affecting small businesses and entrepreneurs generally. Helen's video is about what makes a good story, and she says it's about you and your individual story. That's right, what makes you stand out? What makes you so different? Why would people want to read about you? She says, don't just say the good things that have happened in your life and your company. It's about the bad things as well, the obstacles that you've had to overcome, the sacrifices that you've had to make, because that's what's going to resonate most with the reader. Now, she gives a perfect example of the Cambridge Satchel Company. She said that's a compelling story. Helen says if you are going to target publications, journals and bloggers, make it relevant to what their interests are. There's absolutely no point targeting these people if your product or service has got nothing to do with the industry sector that they're working in. Helen says word of mouth is so important. Get your customers to sing your praises to their friends and to spread it on social media, because that's just a fantastic form of spreading the word and great PR. She says if you are going to use social media, then be selective. You don't have to be on absolutely everything out there, because you're just not going to have the time to do that and work. Besides which, use a platform that you're most comfortable with. Now, Helen says if you are going to contact her, please do it via email. Watch it in the video. She gives you a fantastic tip as to how you can contact her. Don't call her up straight away either. You don't even have to give her samples or freebies. If she likes your story, she'll contact you. I'm sure she will. So I hope you enjoy this video, particularly relevant to anybody who wants to know how to woo a journalist or how to spread the word, more importantly. And you really need to dig deep within yourself and find out what's your unique selling point, what makes you different from everyone else. Everyone's got a story. What's yours? So I hope you enjoy this video, and thank you for watching.
Which basically involves writing about the issues facing small businesses and entrepreneurism generally. One of the good things for me is having the chance to meet lots of exciting new businesses, but also having the almost, I guess, people who can select some of the better ones for me, because I do get inundated with businesses. I'm really interested to hear about all of the businesses, but sadly newspapers have shrunk a lot. So the key for me when I hear from businesses is finding out what makes you different, which your USP is. The need to be genuine to what you are. It's not just enough to sort of say, I'm a successful business. There are many thousands of successful businesses out there, but what makes you stand out, and how are you relevant in today's world? And work out exactly what it is that you're selling, but also work out when you're targeting different publications, different bloggers, different websites, work out what's of interest to them, what's relevant to them, and target precisely at them, so that you don't overwhelm people with things, as you've said, that are completely of no interest to them. It's very frustrating to me when I do get stories through which basically bear no relevance to the kind of things I cover. But equally, it's wonderful when I get an email from somebody and they say, I've read some of the stuff that you write about. Now, this particular issue has happened to me or my business, and would you be interested in writing about it? So targeting is really key, but also be, as you've also said, be really clear about what it is that you do and your USP. And the other thing I would say is, as well as talking about the good things that your business has done or is achieving, it's really, as a journalist, it's really interesting to hear about challenges that you've overcome. So when there's been, maybe you've struggled with money, you couldn't get finance, or your biggest customer has gone bankrupt and that's consequently knocked on your cash flow. Those kind of issues are really interesting, and they can, I think businesses sometimes are afraid of seeming to be negative, but actually it's really interesting for other small businesses to read, okay, that happened to them, this is happening to me, this is how I overcome it. And the story ends up being a positive story, and as we've said many, many times tonight, it's all about the story. It's all about your personal story. And one of the businesses that I wrote about a while ago that I really, really love, and I'm sure most of you know, is the Cambridge Satchel Company. And she's a wonderful business and a wonderful woman, and her story is just so wonderful. The fact that she set up the business because her children were being bullied. She needed to raise the money to send them to private school because the schools in the local area were just not working. And she now has, 6 years later, 14 million pound business. But one of the other things about her is she's so true to what she believes in. So her satchels all range, I think, in cost from about £90 to £150. And she told me she was asked to do a high-end range of satchels costing £600-700, and she refused because she said, I want my product to be accessible to everybody because that's what I stand for. Now that kind of thing for a journalist, it's a brilliant story, you know, and everybody has something that makes them different. It is just about being clear to yourself about what it is that makes you different. Don't try and overcomplicate things either. I think just, you know, stay clear to what it is that you're about.
And Helen, what's the best way that you like to be approached? Is it via email? Is there a particular mechanism or method that makes it easier for you to do your job, to decide whether the story is relevant or not relevant?
I think email is the best, just because I get so many phone calls every day, and it's very difficult sometimes if you're busy anyway to take in actually what people are saying. So email is best, but again, a personalised email, there's nothing more annoying when you get an email and they've forgotten to remove somebody else's name on the top so that you know it's from. So they just go straight in the bin, which is, So I think a kind of personalised email which shows that you, the business, have thought about the person you're approaching. And then following up maybe a couple of days later, please don't call me an hour after sending an email, because it will just already annoy me. But a couple of days later, and that's probably the best way. Social enterprise is a huge topic at the moment. There's been a massive growth in the number of social enterprises being set up. And I think whether it's because of the recession and the whole banking crisis, whatever it is, people are much more involved with the idea of social enterprises these days, and people want to know where their money's going. They want to feel that it's going to an area that they support, or at least that there's some sense of giving back. Word of mouth recommendation is fantastic, but equally, I would just say don't feel that you should send journalists your products, because the other thing is, if you only ever read journalists writing about how fantastic products are, you're not going to trust them either. It's going to be the same as some often fashion publications. There is a lot more of that going on, where the journalists get sent freebies all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but when I read about the latest Coach handbag or something, I sort of think, well, so what? You probably got sent to at Christmas, and now I make up my own mind about what I want. It is different with service businesses, but what I should say is just really, in terms of the word of mouth recommendation, encourage your customers or people who come and visit you or use your services. Say to them, I'd really appreciate it if you put something on TripAdvisor. I'd really appreciate it if you told your friends. I'd really appreciate it if you use social media, and encourage them to do that, because if they like your story, they want to become part of it. I mean, we all love telling somebody we've had a great experience. We all love saying, my God, those shoes were beautiful, or those pants really worked, or we all love doing that. So, word of mouth is really important, but don't really need to send journalists freebies. I think it's very important to stay key to what you're trying to say and not to bombard. Because if you bombard, as we all know, whether it's by emails or by Twitter or by anything else, people switch off. And certainly there are brands where I just switch off, and even PRs, sorry guys, who I just kind of don't really pay much attention to, because I'm just getting so much stuff from them. So I think we've all talked about how you can use different forms of media, but it might be the case that actually all forms of media aren't right for your business, and that you concentrate on using social, targeting newspapers, or whatever form it is, but that you work out exactly what's right for you and be selective. I think it's definitely worth being selective.